let me ask you something. Are you here just to fit in, to live up to what everyone else expects of you? Or are you here to build something that is 100% uniquely your own? Today, we're diving into a story that will challenge everything you think you know about success, integrity, and your own place in the world. Just think about it for a second. Do you ever feel kind of lost in the crowd? Do you see people who just copy others get ahead while your own talent gets ignored? Do you find yourself making decisions, big or small, because of pressure from society, your family, your friends, decisions you never really wanted to make? Well, if any of that sounds familiar, this one's for you. Because what we're about to explore isn't just a book summary. Nope, it's a journey. One that's designed to give you the courage to stand up against the world, all alone if you have to, and to finally live life completely on your own terms. Okay, so at its very core, this entire story boils down to one central conflict. It's a choice between two completely different ways to live, personified by two architects. The question is, are you a creator or are you an imitator? So on one side, you've got Howard Roark. This guy lives to create. Everything he does is driven by his own principles, his own self-esteem. He literally could not care less what the world thinks. And on the other side, we have Peter Keating. He's a master imitator. His whole life is just one big chase for fame, for money, and for the approval of others, even if it means completely selling out. So Roark gets kicked out of architecture school. Why? Because his designs don't copy the old classics. They're totally original. And this is the line he writes down for himself. It becomes his personal motto. See, he believes you can learn how great people think, but you can't just copy-paste their work and call it your own. His path is all about creation, never imitation.
And this contrast brings up a really big point. Roark is broke. He's practically starving because he refuses to compromise on his designs. So society looks at him and sees a total failure. Meanwhile, Keating is a superstar. He's winning huge contracts, he's famous, he's got it all, except he's completely empty inside. He knows his success isn't really his, so it makes you wonder, what is real success anyway?
Now, as you can imagine, Roark's radical commitment to himself doesn't just go unnoticed. The world, with all its traditions and power structures, starts to fight back. And it does so through two very different but very powerful characters. First up, there's Dominique Francon. She's this brilliant, sharp architecture critic, and she sees Roark's genius from day one. But here's the twist. She's convinced that the world is so mediocre, so average, that it will chew him up and spit him out. So in this really bizarre act of love, she decides to destroy him publicly to protect him from that very world. She becomes his biggest critic and even marries his rival Peter Keating, almost as a way to punish herself. It's complicated. And then we meet the story's true villain, Ellsworth Toohey. Now, on the surface, he seems like a great guy, a humanitarian who talks all about helping others, about teamwork. But his real goal? It's power. Not with guns or money, but with ideas. Because Toohey knows you can't control a strong, independent person. You can only control someone who feels weak and dependent. His method is just chillingly effective. First, he preaches that sacrificing yourself for others is the greatest thing you can do. He tells people to kill their ego, their sense of I, and to only think about we. Then he attacks the very idea of greatness, of someone being exceptional. He lifts up mediocrity as the ideal. And the final nail in the coffin? He controls people by making them feel guilty for having any personal ambition. He makes you ashamed to want things for yourself, which makes you so much easier to control. All of this conflict builds and builds until it hits an explosive climax. Peter Keating, who's now basically a puppet for Toohey and has no creativity left, lands the biggest project of his career, a massive housing project called Cortlandt Homes. And he can't design it. He's got nothing. So, in total desperation, Keating goes to the one person he knows is a true genius, Roark. Roark agrees to design the whole thing, for free, and let Keating take all the credit. He has just one condition. You have to build it exactly as I designed it, no changes. But of course, under pressure from Toohey's cronies, Keating caves. He betrays his promise. And when Roark sees that his masterpiece has been corrupted, he doesn't sue, he doesn't write an angry letter, he dynamites the entire building and calmly turns himself into the police. So what happens next is a trial. But this isn't just about a building. The courtroom becomes a stage for a trial about an entire philosophy of life.
Roark is about to defend not just his actions, but the very meaning of creation and the rights of every individual.
He fires his lawyer. He decides to speak for himself. And he's not up there to apologize or ask for mercy. No way. He's there to explain why what he did was not just right, but absolutely necessary. In a way, he puts the entire world on trial. The copycats, the parasites, the second-handers.
This is the first cornerstone of his defense. He argues that all human progress, everything from the discovery of fire to the invention of the microchip, came from a single individual mind having an idea. He says committees don't create, mobs don't invent. Creation is and always will be a singular personal act. And here it is. This is his most radical, most provocative point. He completely reclaims the word ego. For guys like Toohey, ego is the ultimate sin. But for Roark, the ego, the sense of I, is the fountainhead, the very source of all human achievement. He says denying your I is the same as denying your own mind, your values, your life itself. Self-interest isn't evil. It's the engine that drives humanity forward.
So ultimately, his entire argument boils down to this. That building was his idea, his creation. He brought it into existence. When they changed it without his consent, they violated it. So destroying it wasn't vandalism, it was an act of integrity. It was him saying a creator owns his work, body and soul, and has the right to protect it from being corrupted.
You can just imagine. The jury is absolutely stunned. They have never heard anyone speak like this. The whole courtroom is silent, holding its breath for a verdict that feels like it's about much more than just one man's fate.
And the verdict comes back, not guilty. It's a shocking, total victory for the individual against the collective. After the trial, Keating just fades away, a hollow shell of a man who realizes he never really lived his own life. Toohey's influence shatters. And Roark, he is finally free to build, completely on his own terms. So, what's the big lesson here for us? Well, the story leaves us with some pretty powerful ideas to chew on. First, your mind, your unique identity, is your greatest asset. Don't ever surrender it. Second, be a creator, someone who produces real value, not a parasite who just lives off the work or approval of others. Third, value your own life and happiness above all else. That's not selfish, it's rational. And maybe most importantly, remember that you and you alone are the architect of your life. So, I'll leave you with this one last question. This story really forces you to look in the mirror and ask, am I building my life according to my own vision, my own principles? Or am I just letting society hand me the blueprint? Who is the architect of your life?